Hello, my name is Maxine Croft, and I help women to create a healthy relationship with food so they can be happy in their bodies. So I wanted to talk about the scales because the scales often become quite a fearful, stressful machine to have around. And that's because they can represent how you feel you should think about yourself in the moment that you step on them, depending on what that number says. And this can go back to, childhood or wherever it was it started for you, that your weight became the sort of determining factor about whether you felt good or bad about yourself. That number being able to dictate whether you're going to feel good today or you're going to feel bad today. And the thing is, it's actually really unhelpful because the scales apparently are very useful for just helping you keep on top of what's happening with your weight. It's quite difficult sometimes to monitor what's going on. But the problem is we've become so emotionally triggered by them because of the meaning that we give to the number that they give to us. So rather, and this is obviously much deeper because it's all about what that number means. But I think it's really unhelpful, and I think we should all try and become a bit more objective about what this number says about us, because it is a number. And the more that we can start to value ourselves as more than just a number, the more useful it is actually for creating the kind of habits that we want to create and how we want to feel about ourselves, regardless of what that number says. So I thought it would be good to do like a tapping sequence based on this idea of the scales, because it's something that seems to come up an awful lot. And so if this is the thing for you, I'd like you to just drop into that feeling now. If I put some scales in front of you, or if you can imagine your scales in your bathroom at home, and just think about the idea of stepping on them right now. And think about what happens if you think about that. Do you have sensations in your body that you're aware of? Do you have thoughts? Because generally it's, the power of the scales is quite remarkable, considering they are just actually a machine, a device to take a measurement. But yes, what's happening for you? Can you feel stress? And then I'd like you to rate that stress on a scale of 0 to 10. And when I say stress, just emotional intensity. What do you feel about the idea of stepping on those scales? Okay, and then just follow what I do and say the words that I say, and just trying to tune in to what you feel in your body. So tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I feel all this stress when I think about my scales and what the number would make me feel if I was to step onto them, I accept who I am and how I feel. Even though the scales represent my self-worth in that moment, when I step on them, the number tells me if I can feel good or should feel bad. I deeply and completely accept myself anyway. Even though I have a fear of the scales. Because I know if I don't like the number, I'm going to feel bad. And I'm going to feel like a bad person. And I'm going to feel that in my body. And I'm going to feel that all day. But I deeply and completely accept myself anyway. All this stress about the scales, that number tells me how I should feel about myself. I've learned that my weight determines how I should feel about myself. If it's a good number, I can feel good. If it's a bad number, I should feel bad. Because the scales tell me my weight. And my weight tells me if I should feel good or bad. This is just what I believe. Because I believe that having a lower weight means that I'm doing well. And if I have a higher weight, then I should feel shame and guilt because I'm not trying hard enough. I know it's just a number. I know it's just a measurement. But that measurement means so much to me. It tells me how I should feel about myself and my value. My weight tells me my value. Okay, take a deep breath. And I just want you to have a think about how you feel. What thoughts came to you? Did all of that feel very true? Or did you have little niggles of thoughts about, well, it doesn't feel logical that my value should be based on my weight, but that's just how it is. And if your stress has actually gone up because you're really getting into these thoughts about weight being so important in telling you about who you are as a person and what your self-worth is, then just keep tapping and breathing through that stress, because that's what we're trying to get down, is this association between a number and your self-worth, because it's just not helpful. Okay, what we're going to do now is just tap through some other ideas. But if you, as I say, if your stress is still quite high, then just keep working on that before you move on to this next section, which is trying to open the door to a different way of looking at this. Okay, so I wonder if I could be objective about the scales. I don't think that's possible. They just mean so much to me in terms of what the number says. But what if it was just a measurement? What if it just did give me information about what was happening with my weight? It didn't tell me if I was good or bad or worthy. It just told me what was happening. Could that information be useful? Could I be okay with that? But if I was okay with it, maybe the number would keep going up. I have to keep this fear and stress about the scales, because otherwise I might just put on more weight. But I wonder if that's true. I wonder if I could feel more relaxed about it, calmer about the weight. Maybe I feel more relaxed in life. Maybe if I felt good about myself and not so stressed, I'd make the choices that make me feel good. Deep breath. Okay, so let me know how you get on with that. It's quite a big subject because a lot of this stuff can go back, and weight can, from, as I said before, can from an early age become so entrenched in our belief system about good, bad, worthy. It's not necessarily something that gets fixed immediately, but just this idea of trying to disconnect weight with our value and recognizing that you have tremendous value and you're very important and very worthy regardless of what that number says. Thank you.